Welcome to the Sports on Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith. Today we have some news from the local fronts. Also, South Africa have a new coach, finally. We go to Johannesburg to get an update on why it's taking so long for that to happen. And also, the latest update from Manchester United in the semi-final of the Europa League. Are they winning without Zlatan or not? Thank you for your time. First of all, we begin in Ghana, and J.E. Sapon, one of the big coaches in Ghana's local scene, or on Ghana's local scene, has cautioned newly appointed Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah against naming Maxwell Konadu among his backroom staff.
I was a little bit skeptical about Maxwell. You know, this is a man who brought you to help him. I thought I would have left with him when he was sacked. That is me. I'm not saying anybody else. That is me. I've done it before to Coach Ade, to other coaches who are assisted. When you leave, I live with you. Because somewhere, somebody will say that perhaps you backbited. Yeah. And that's why he has been sacked. Sure. So you clear yourself off. When they need you, you go. With the blessing of the head coach, he says, go back. You go. But when you stay there, do the job.
Yeah, so from where you sit, you don't see a Maxwell coming back to play that.
I want him to be reassigned. He can be given one of the national teams, you know, away from the Black Stars backroom staff. You know, we want new faces in the Black Stars. We want new faces. The players want to see new faces, so that they'll decide on bygones being bygones. The moment they see certain things or certain people who had been with them for long, you know, they start to remember. It's reminiscent of what has happened to them.
Okay.
So for me, I think Kwesi should revisit that one. I'm not saying, I'm not the head coach. I'm only giving an outright experience of what backroom staffs can do. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that Maxwell should be reassigned. Somebody is saying that he has been there for long, and you advise Kwesi about the goings on things in the Black Stars. We don't need that thing. We know Ghanaians, we know our players, we know the Ghanaian sector, we know what happens. So for me to have peace, you know, Maxwell, we have local Black Stars, we have the Meteors, we have other junior teams. He can be reassigned, you know. So for me, that is my beef anyway. I'm not Kwesi Appiah.
More debates, isn't it, on Kwesi Appiah? Meanwhile, we understand that Kwesi Appiah has not signed the contract given him by the Ghana Football Association because he wants his lawyers to check it out before he puts pen to paper. Speaking of coaches, and it's been a very long time, it seems, since South Africa sacked their former coach, Shakes Mashaba. It's been months and months and a lot of cat and mouse, but finally, they have a new man. His name is Stuart Baxter. And if you recall, when Ghana beat South Africa in that famous meeting where Michael Essien scored that header, it was Stuart Baxter who was in charge of Bafana Bafana. So we go now to Johannesburg to understand why it has taken so long for South Africa to name the new man. And on the line is South African Broadcasting Corporation journalist Duane Dell'oca. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Gary, good to chat to you.
Yes, so why has it taken us so long to hear that South Africa have a new coach? Give us some background.
I'll tell you what, it's caught everybody by surprise. It was actually announced this soon. In the end, we've all become very tired of the situation. We were wondering how long it was going to take before the new coach was officially announced. But the reason behind it is the fact that the ongoing case, disciplinary case against former coach Shakes Mashaba, who was relieved of duties in December for insubordination amongst various other things after accusing his management of just about everything following a victory over Senegal in the first of the World Cup qualifiers in round 3. Ultimately, the South African Football Association has been trying to cut ties completely with Shakes Mashaba. They dismissed him. He took them to various courts to try to overturn their decision to fire him. And indeed, he's now wound up at the CCMA, which is basically an opportunity for him to try to win his job back. Now, the case continues to be postponed, and it has been throughout March, throughout April, and has most recently been postponed to the 22nd of May. So Stuart Baxter being appointed as Bafana Bafana head coach is in fact done before the Shakes Mashaba situation has been concluded. There is still a possible outcome of the CCMA finding in favor of Shakes Mashaba and suggesting that he should be reinstated, which would either mean that he gets his job back and Stuart Baxter indeed Stuart Baxter keeps his job, and a big payout is in order for Shakes Mashaba to walk away from the job. It's something that behind the scenes, I'm told that the South African Football Association has been trying to get Shakes Mashaba to walk away for a sum of around 2 million rand. Shakes Mashaba, though, is apparently wanting at least 6 months' salary, which is just over 3 million rand. So that is still not concluded. So that's the main reason why this appointment has actually taken so long to come about.
3 million rand should be about $150,000 if I have my conversions right. Now tell us, why is this appointment important for South Africa to get soon? We know that you have qualifiers coming, notably one with Nigeria, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's the point. I mean, this is really, it's been shocking that it's actually taken so long, despite all the behind the scenes shenanigans that have been going on with Shakes Mashaba in these cases that continually are adjourned. But ultimately, that's the point. We've got the Nations Cup qualifier against Nigeria coming up in around a month's time. And South Africa need to have a coach in place. After that, of course, it's a very short skip across to August, where South Africa has those back-to-back qualifiers late in August and early September against Cape Verde as they continue their World Cup qualifying campaign. And then the following month in October, for Senegal, of course, in their final round 3 qualification World Cup qualifier in November. You want to have a coach that's established. You want to have a coach that is familiar with the players. You want to have a coach that doesn't need a settling in period. And I think that's what ultimately has swayed the decision in recent times to get somebody like Stuart Baxter in, because he doesn't meet the criteria that were initially laid out by the South African Football Association, which, to be fair, I've heard behind the scenes they conceded to me that they wrote virtually to have Carlos Queiroz walk into the position. Ultimately, he was unable to get out of his contract with Iran until beyond the 2018 FIFA World Cup. So for South Africa, it's a very sticky situation with a number of qualifiers, and indeed the quality of opposition South Africa is facing in both Nations Cup and World Cup qualifiers immediately ahead. And I'm delighted to say, though, that despite the fact that the reaction from the public in South Africa has been a little tepid, that many of the players seem to have applauded Stuart Baxter's appointment as coach.
Duane, we really have to end the interview now because we don't have a lot of time on that. But that's the latest on the South African situation. Duane Dell'oca is a journalist for the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Finally, this one finishes. You can get the full match reports on the sports page of myjoyonline.com, also on Twitter and Facebook. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the highlights with Benedict. I'm Gary Alsmith. That's the sport for now.